Hey friends, and welcome back to our Canva template series. This series is where we're talking all things creating and selling Canva templates as digital products, and this is actually video number 2. If you missed last week's video, we talked about some of my top tips for designing your templates, a few graphic design hacks, if you will, for creating really polished and professional looking designs. I'll have a link in the description box below for that video if you'd like to go back and watch that one. So this is the second video in the series, and today I'm walking you step by step through actually packaging and delivering your template links to your buyer and going over a few things that you need to have in your listing in order for it to break through and become a bestseller. Let's dive in. Welcome back to the channel, friend. If this is your first time finding this channel and we haven't met yet, I'm Kate. I'm a wife, mom, Etsy seller, and business coach, and I'm here to help you start and scale your business so that you can make a full-time income doing what you love. Like I said, last week in the Canva template series, we talked a little bit more about the design side of things. This week, we're talking about how to actually package and deliver those template links, as well as some must-have elements for your listing itself to really level it up and give it that bestseller potential. I'm super excited to dive into the step-by-step tutorial, but first, just to quickly cover a few admin things, I do want to mention, like I did last week, that if you're working with templates inside Canva, you are going to need a Canva account. Now, you can have a free Canva account or a pro Canva account. Either one will be fine to do what you need to do to create and sell these templates. If you're interested in seeing what Canva Pro is all about, I have a free 30-day trial linked in the description box below. So if you're interested in just trying out Pro for 30 days to see what it's like, you can definitely click on the link to sign up with that free trial. But either way, you're definitely going to be able to create and sell these templates and do everything you need with just the free version as well. I also want to remind you about 2 free resources that I mentioned last week in the video. I want to mention again today because they're going to be a huge help to you, whether you're just getting started on your digital product selling journey or whether you've already started as a seller. I have a digital product starter guide. So this is going to be a guide that really simplifies everything you need to know the basics of digital products. We're talking file types, resolution, aspect ratios, and sizing, all of the tech side of things that can tend to be really overwhelming. I've created a guide to break it down really simply for you. So if you're interested in that, that'll be linked below, as well as a free list of prompts in case you're wanting to create a Canva template specific to social media bundles. This is a free list of prompts to help you figure out what content, as far as topics, you could include in your social media templates. Again, totally free to you, linked below if you'd like to access that after you watch this video. All right, enough talk, let's hop into Canva. Okay, so if you watched that first video in the series, you know we are focusing for this tutorial on creating a Canva template that's specific to a social media bundle. So we're doing an example of an Instagram bundle, and last week in the video, we created some different example designs that might be included in our Instagram posts, as well as resizing them for Instagram stories, which looks a little bit more like this. It's a little bit more vertical and narrow. And then we had a third size, which was our Instagram post vertical. So not the square, but the portrait size Instagram post. So we had the same basic designs that we resized for 3 different purposes. And now we're going to use these different template sizes to share in our bundle with our listing. So the first step to do this is we're actually going to create a separate PDF document. So we're going to come back to Canva, click create a design. It doesn't really matter what size, but I like to do letters. So just type in letter. That's going to give you an 8.5 by 11 inch canvas to work with. And we're going to create a PDF document that's going to be delivered to our buyer upon purchase. So this is going to be the document that actually is the only thing they're going to download from the actual purchase itself. And we're going to embed our links into this PDF document for them to click on to access the actual templates in Canva. So this PDF does not have to be complicated in any way. There's just a few things that you need to have. So let's just start with a background color here. Of course, we would probably want to keep it on brand if we have brand colors. So let's say that we want to choose a brand color here. And then we might go ahead, if we have a logo, we could add our logo on this PDF. Now this is just my personal logo, but if you have a business logo for your shop, that would be great to add as well to make it look really professional and branded. And then the main thing we want to add here is a section for our template links to be embedded. So let's come over here to elements and let's choose a square, and we're going to create this in a different color so it stands out. And let's make this a little larger so we have enough space for our text here. And then we're going to come over to text and add a heading. And then we're going to type out what we want here. So if we're offering different sizes in a bundle, like we talked about, the 3 different sizes that we have for our Instagram bundle, the best way to do it, like we have here laid out, is to keep all of the designs in that one size, in that one template link. So we have one specific link for square size. We're going to have a different link for the story size and a different link for the portrait size. So we might say something like Instagram post square, which we know is 1080 by 1080. Click here. Now we're going to make this smaller and size it the right way. We also want to make sure this font is in a brand font and the color is readable. We might also want to make the click here bold, just so there's no confusion where they need to click, and maybe even underline that part. Okay, and then we can duplicate this text by clicking the little plus sign where it says duplicate. That's going to give it to us again, but then we're going to go in and edit this to say Instagram post portrait / vertical. And then we want to change the size to 1080 by 1350, which is the size for the Instagram vertical post. We might also want to add pixels here next to these sizes so people don't get confused. So we've got 1080 by 1080 pixels. We've got 1080 by 1350 pixels. Click here. And then we're going to duplicate this text one more time. And we're going to change this to Instagram story instead of post. And we're going to change this to 1080 by 1920 pixels. That's the story size. We may also want to select all of these texts and click up here to left align them so they're really nice and neat looking. And we can also select them all and click here where it says position, space evenly vertically, and that will make sure there's the same amount of space between each line of text. Now, if we want to group these texts together, we can also select all 3 of these text lines and then click group, and that puts them all in a group together so that we can move our text around wherever we want it. So if we wanted to move this down a little bit so that we would have room up here for a title or a different piece of text, we could do that. So we might add another heading up here that says, "Thank you for your purchase. Click below to access your templates." Now, if you wanted to make this more professional looking, you could always add an image as well. So let's say that you had a mock-up image. Let's go over here to Elements and we could type in computer mock-up. And then you could add one of these really nifty little computer mock-ups here where you would add your image. So this will be the image we're about to create in just a minute. You would add here to showcase your listing thumbnail, and then that could be there as well. So that's not necessary, but just if you wanted to make it look more professional, you could add that. The most important thing here is to embed these links now. So we're actually going to click to ungroup this text now that we have it where we want it, and we're going to individually embed each of these links. So our first one is the Instagram post, the square size. So we're going to come to where we have that on Canva. This is where we've created our square size post. We're going to come up here to share, and then we're going to click on more. Sometimes it'll show right here if it says template link, but if you don't see it, you can click on more. And then you're going to click on this option that says template link. This is going to generate for you a unique Canva template link. So this is the link you need to use to share with your buyer. When the buyer uses this link, it's going to open a brand new copy for them to edit themselves inside of their own Canva account. So you don't want to use any other link except for this one that's generated as the template link for these designs. So we're going to copy this template link, and then we're going to come back to our PDF document that we're creating. We're going to come to the right text that says post square. We're going to highlight the section that says click here, and then we're going to come up here to the right hand corner with this little link symbol that says link, and we're going to paste in that template link that we just copied. So once we paste, it says link added. So now that link is embedded here. So when the buyer actually clicks where it says click here, it'll automatically open a new tab and take them to that link. And we're going to do that for each of these sizes. So we're going to have a separate link for the Instagram portrait size post, which is this one. We're going to come up to share. Same thing, we're going to look for template link, copy, come back over to our PDF document and highlight the click here, link, and paste that link and embed that with that line. Same thing for the story size. These are our stories here. So share, more, template link, copy, then highlight the right text, click here, link, We're going to paste that and embed it there. So now that you have these links embedded, that is the main thing you needed for this PDF document, but you can feel free to add anything else you want on this document. You might want to move this up a little bit so you have room at the bottom to add a note section. So if you wanted to add more text down here that says something like, note, all elements on templates are editable, text, fonts, colors, photos, something like that. It doesn't have to be worded exactly like that, but whatever note you feel like they might find helpful. And then of course you want to make sure that your color and your font is correct for that. And that can be another section there at the bottom. Okay, so I know we don't have our image in here yet, but let's say that we were happy with this the way it is. Then when it's finalized, we're going to come up to share and we want to download this as a PDF. So right here where it says file tab, we're going to change this to PDF standard and we're going to click download. Now, one thing to mention that I didn't before, but is important to do in the beginning is up here, you want to title this PDF document, whatever title you want it to have for the buyer to see. So it might be titled something like Instagram template links. Whatever you title up here, when you download, that's going to be what it saves as, and that's the title that will be shown to the buyer when they download it. So let's open up our PDF download to see what it would look like from the buyer's perspective. When they get it after purchase, it's going to look like what you designed it to look like. It's going to open up as a PDF and they'll be able to click here on any of these links that say click here. And when they do, it's going to bring them to a page that says a template created by Kate, but it'll have your name in there, was shared with you, start designing now. And they can click this button, use template, and this will open up a brand new copy of the template for them inside of their Canva account. So they're not actually touching your original template. Nothing's going to get altered on your original. This is their own unique copy that they can then go and edit how they want. And when they're done, they're going to download it themselves to use however they'd like. Okay, so now that we've created our PDF and that's how we're going to deliver our template links to our buyer, let's talk about a few parts of the actual listing itself that are really important to include. So one is the actual listing thumbnails. Now you could be selling on a multitude of different platforms. I'm an Etsy seller, so I'm most familiar with Etsy listings, and that's what I'm going to be speaking about in this video, but this will apply across the board. You need to have several listing photos that are showcasing your template designs as well as speaking to what actually is included. So the first thing we're going to work on here is to create a main background mock-up image with some of your template designs on it. So let's assume we're selling on Etsy. There's a great size for an Etsy listing photo is 2700 by 2025 pixels. So you're going to click on create design, custom size, and then you're going to input the 2700 by 2025 pixels. And this is going to be for your thumbnail listing image on Etsy. Now, what we want to do is create sort of a background image that's showcasing some of our designs. So what I've done earlier was I went ahead and downloaded, remember these were a few of our designs that we made before. Now, ideally, if you're offering a bundle, you would have maybe 50 or more of these designs, but we just created a couple before as examples. So we're going to just use those and upload them to Canva. So I've already done that in my uploads. You just come here to the left, uploads, click upload files, and then you're going to see those uploaded designs. So you're basically re-uploading the designs that you created in your other template page, and you're going to use those on this new canvas for your listing thumbnail. So let's first use our square sized images. So we're going to add one of these to our canvas. We're going to size it down pretty small, and we're going to have these going all the way across. Now, of course, we want different ones if possible, if we have like 50 or more designs, but for the purposes today, we only have the 3. So we'll just kind of show these 3 over and over again, but we're going to size that down pretty small, and we're going to click on edit image, and we're going to give it a shadow by coming down here under shadows and clicking drop shadow. And you can see if you zoom in a little bit, how it just gave a nice little effect behind that square, a nice little shadow. And of course, if you don't like how that shadow looks, you can always edit how strong it is by coming here. But let's just say that we like the way that that shadow looks. So now we're going to add another one of our designs here. We want this to be the same size as the first one. So we're going to bring it up here, and we're going to use our sizing tool to just size it down until we see that it's the same size as the one we put before. Of course, we're going to add our shadow again, come over to drop shadow, add that, and let's make sure this is the right size. If we come to the first one, we can double check the size by looking at when we drag it, it'll tell us the width and height. So we've got a width of 268 by 272. So let's make sure this is the same thing, 268. And then let's click to add our third design here. We're going to do the same thing with this. Size it down. We're going to add our shadow first by going to edit image, drop shadow, and now let's size this down to the right size. Okay, now that these are the right size, we see the little number in between as we drag this around. When it gets equal, it'll show us a number. So right there, it's saying there's 11 between each of those. So we just want these to be equally spaced apart. Now we're going to select all of these and click group to group them together. And now we're going to select them, right click and hit duplicate. And that's going to give us a duplicate of those three together. So we're just going to line these up all the way across, duplicate again, bring it across, making sure that they're lined up correctly and spaced correctly. Now we can highlight all of these and make them a group. So this is one big group now. Right click, duplicate. We're going to bring that down and we're going to do this all the way across until we have filled up the whole page. Okay, now we have them pretty much covering the whole page. Let's highlight all of them together and we're going to make them all one big group by clicking group. So now we have this all as one huge group that we can move around. So now a popular thing that I've seen in my research is for this to be rotated. So let's rotate the whole thing and we might need to size it up a little bit by dragging the size to fill our canvas. But we're going to drag it until it fills all the way across and we can continue rotating it until we like the angle that it's at. And like I mentioned before, ideally none of these would be repeating. These would all be showing different designs that are included in your bundle. And that way the buyer can have a really good view of a lot of the different designs that are included. And this is going to actually serve as a background image for us. Okay, so now that we have our main background image, let's talk about what needs to be on the thumbnail. This is the very first listing photo on Etsy. And this is the one that's most important because it's the one that's going to be catching the buyer's attention for them to click through on your listing. So let's say we're going to use this as our background for our thumbnail. Then we might come to elements and let's choose a square because we're going to add some text to this thumbnail. So let's use a background square that's going to go behind our main text to make it stand out from the background. And we can change the color, of course, to match our branding or to match whatever the color scheme for the bundle is. And then we also probably want to add another element, let's say a circle. Up here, we're going to size this up a little bit. And this is where we're going to put the number of images that are actually available in our template bundle. It's really important, especially if we have a big bundle that's featuring like hundreds of designs, that we include the actual number that they're going to get access to with this bundle. Let's make sure that's centered and of course change the color to match what we want for this thumbnail. And then we might want one more circle to specify that this is a Canva template, right? So a lot of these bundles on Etsy will have a little circle that says edit in Canva so that the buyer knows this is an editable Canva template. So let's just right click and duplicate this circle. We might size it down a little bit and we're going to put it in a different area on the thumbnail to put our Canva text. So let's move that over where we want that and change the color. Okay, so now it's time to add all of our text. Let's start with our big number here. So let's say that we have a bundle of 300 items, right? So this could be like 100 different designs, but since you're offering 3 different sizes, remember we have the story size, the square size, and the post portrait size. That gives them 300 total designs that they can use. So let's put a 300 there, and we're gonna make this big enough to fit inside this circle and be really noticeable. So we want that to be prominent and front and center right there in the middle of the circle. And then we can add another little text here that says designs. So 300 designs. And then we're going to add some text across this box that says exactly what it is. So we can add this text down here that's going to say Instagram post and stories template bundle. Actually, we might want to put the template bundle on a different line, so we can do that in a different fun text. So let's make this larger. And since this is on a dark background, let's make our font a color that's going to contrast really well. So we've got Instagram, post, and stories. And then we might want to add another line of text that's going to say template bundle. And let's make that in a really fun font. And again, we want this to be a readable color. Let's make this circle a little bit smaller, okay? And then we'll just kind of make that work together there. All right, so we've got Instagram, post and stories template bundle. And then remember, this little circle is where we're gonna put our text that says edit in Canva. Edit in Canva. Make that bigger to fit in the circle and make sure it's centered. All right, let's size this down so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so I think that looks really awesome as a first thumbnail image for your listing on Etsy. It gives them the needed information. It gives them that awesome background. So when you're happy with that, you're going to click share, download, and then you can either choose a PNG or a JPEG for your Etsy listing. Either one should be fine. You're just going to select the one that you want and then click download, and you're going to have that file to then upload to your actual Etsy listing as the thumbnail image. Okay, so now that we have our main thumbnail image, there's a couple other images that you definitely need to include in your photo section on your listing. You can do a lot of different things and it's up to you, but there's a few that I would definitely include. One is a what's included image. One is a what you can edit image. And one would be another image showing a different size. So remember, we used our square size for this background, but we have a story size as well, which is more of a vertical size. So we want to create another image that shows our story size as well. So let's go through these real quick. I'm going to just delete a couple of these elements, basically everything we added to this except for the background here. So we're going to reuse this background for our next one, and we're just going to create a what's included type of graphic image here. So again, we're going to come to elements. It's great to use this colored square, whether you kind of put it all the way across as a text box, or you could just make it a square to be a background behind your text. It's a great idea to add text to this to just list out what they're going to get in their bundle. So let's add a text that says, what's included. Of course, we want to make this bigger and change the color to be readable against this dark background. And we're going to add another text box where we're going to actually just list out the different things that are included. Okay, so the first one I put 100 Instagram posts. This is the square size, and underneath I put the actual size, 1080 by 1080 pixels. So now I'm going to, of course, make that the right color, and then we're going to duplicate this text by clicking our little plus button here, and we're just going to edit this to be posts. We're giving them vertical posts as well. So let's say we have 100 square, 100 vertical. Change the size down here to 1080 by 1350, which is the size of the vertical. And then let's duplicate it one more time to say 100 Instagram stories. And then we're going to put the sizing of that at 1080 by 1920, which is the size of the story. Okay, now we just want to line all of these up in the middle. And that gives them a slide that tells them exactly what's included in the bundle. Now the next one's going to be similar. We can just duplicate this to work on the next one. Let's delete these texts from this one. And this is going to be our what you can edit slide. So let's make this look a little bit different by maybe just making a text box all the way across, centering that. Let's change the background box color. And then let's add some text that says what you can edit. And then let's add another one with the actual list of things. So they can edit the text, fonts, colors, images, they can delete, and they can duplicate things. So let's make this a little bit larger to fit in the box. We might even make this bold. We could even try a different fun scripty font if we want, but this just shows them exactly what they're going to be able to edit in case they're not super familiar with how Canva templates work and the fact that they're going to be able to edit pretty much everything in the template. We could also make this background box a little bit more transparent by clicking on the transparency slider, and that way we'll see a little bit of that background through the box, which just makes it a little bit more professional looking. And next we want to create our story slide. So remember, we want to showcase the different sizes. So let's duplicate this slide again and delete all of these elements that we have on here to start from scratch. Just like we created that first background sort of image by dragging in our designs from our uploads, we're going to do the same thing. So instead of using our square designs, we uploaded also our story size designs. So it's the same exact process, but with the vertical designs, you might want to stagger them a little bit. So let's zoom in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we added our first one. Let's bring it up to the corner. And remember, before you add any others, you want to add that shadow if that's something that you want as an effect. So come to drop shadow. That just is really nice looking. So let's do that. And then let's add in our next design. We want to size it down. Let's add the shadow again and let us make sure that this is the right size compared to the other one. All right, that looks like the right size, but we may need to resize both of them if we want to stagger them. So let's keep sizing this up. We're going to size both of these up a little bit until they meet somewhat in the middle. We want a little bit of space between them still, but not a ton. And we want them to be lined up evenly. Okay, so we have those two. And let's add our third one here. And now this one is going to be sized at the same size, but it's going to be staggered. The size for this one is 563 in width. So let's bring this here and we want the width to match at 563. Okay, and then we want to add our shadow and we're going to bring this to the middle here to be staggered with these. Now, of course, again, if we had several different designs, we would want all the ones on this to be different so they could see what a variety they're getting in the bundle. But since we only have 3, just for the sake of this tutorial, let's duplicate a few of these and we're going to act like we're staggering these, even though they're going to be running off the top and the bottom of the page here a little bit. Making sure we line them up with the ones we've previously placed. And there we have our image that showcases our story size design. So it's a little bit different than our square image. This is showing our vertical story size, and giving it that staggered look helps to differentiate this graphic from the other one we created. So this is just a great way to showcase some of the different designs that are included in the bundle, because we all know as shoppers, we want to see as much as possible of what's included in what we're purchasing. Now, when we're happy with the different graphic images that we've created for our Etsy listing, of course, we're going to come up here, like I said before, click on share, download, and we want to download these either as a PNG or a JPEG for our listing. And then once we've downloaded them, that's when we can go to our Etsy listing and upload these as our images. So friends, I hope that was helpful for you in your creation process of your digital Canva templates, as well as a few of the listing images that are really necessary to up-level your listing and give it that bestseller potential. Don't forget to click the link in the description box below to watch the first video in this series if you missed that, and also click the link to download your free digital product starter guide that's going to help you get started in your digital product business, understanding the tech side of everything, as well as that social media bundle content prompt list. That's going to be a whole list of topics that are prompts for creating a social media template bundle that you can sell, like the one we talked about in these videos. Happy selling, friends!